I'm Snoop Dogg, and I'm giving up smoke. I know what you're thinking. Snoop, smoke is kind of your whole thing. But I'm done with it. I'm done with the coughing and my clothes smelling all funky. I'm going smokeless. Solo stove, fixed fire. They took out the smoke. Now you can have a nice blaze without any clouds ruining your day. Go smokeless. Go to solostove.com. Tell them Big Snoop Dogg sent you.
Reimagine this holiday season with more capability and more adventure in Kia's Ever-Ready lineup. This winter, gift yourself what you really want during Kia's Season of Giving Back sales event. Kia is offering great deals on the capable Sorrento and the spacious Sportage, and deals on even more vehicles like the all-electric EV6 and the fun-to-drive Forte. So visit your local Kia dealer and explore all your newfound possibilities by enjoying Kia's Season of Giving Back. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-3334-KIA for details. Always drive safely. Event ends 1/2/24.
Tim Fitzgerald joins us. Tim Fitz, how are you?
I'm good. Lovely weather in the Flint Hills today.
What are you doing in the Flint Hills? Well, I know Manhattan.
I live in the Flint Hills.
Well, there you go. I thought maybe you were driving south into the...
No.
There you go.
No, I that would be leaving my house. I don't do that nonsense. What's that about?
So, obviously, K-State Nation is pretty active right now with the situation with Walton.
Shut up.
Tomlin. I did that for Jeff. And Jerome Tang's response, the AD's statement. It's just crazy. And I know I don't want to belabor it with you because I know you're covering it and been in the midst of it. Is there going to be a resolution here that gets things calmed back down and everybody can kind of just move forward?
I thought we had done that. I thought Jerome Tang's statement, which at last check had 1.4 million views, his video statement on Twitter. I bet you it's closer to 2 now. I thought that did that, but it didn't behind the scenes. The sniping has continued with requests to suspend players for stuff that's happened. Now the president has put out a statement that rekindles this talk of some mysterious top secret thing going on behind the scenes, which might exist, but if it hasn't been resolved, why is that being used for a reason to kick a kid off? If it has been resolved, why was he ever eligible if he's not? It's hints that it's police related, it's NCAA related. We don't know, and they're hiding behind the protections that protect Nae'Qwan Tomlin from sharing information with everyone else. They're using it to weaponize against the athlete, which is insanity. And but yeah, the president sends out a letter and kind of fired it all back up. I don't know. I thought it was going to calm down, but bringing that back up, this looming thing in the background, is angering people. And some people are like, "Oh, there's something else going on. We just don't know." I'm like, well, if there's an investigation going on, we probably should wait to have some kind of resolution. If it's criminal, at least we could wait for charges. And if it's charges, I thought we were supposed to wait for an outcome. I'm a little confused now. Something vague you don't get to know about, which apparently nobody really knows about, even those who should, is causing him to be removed from the team. That Nae'Qwan Tomlin's in the portal, I'll be interested to see if other institutions have these same problems. And if a bunch of other schools say, oh, he's untouchable because of the NCAA, then I'll go, well, something was going on here that no one knew about, including, I think, basketball and athletics.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird situation. I'm interested to see where Tomlin ends up as well. What about the team on the court beating Villanova? What kind of a win is that for Kansas State? Obviously very big. It just seems like that this team could still get to the level that it wants to get to, even with this situation kind of as the backdrop. Do you see that as well?
Well, I don't think they'll get to where they could have been. I mean, you're taking a potential NBA prospect off your roster, when up until maybe 10 days ago, the president was saying, it was an athletic manner and he's probably going to be cleared to play, and then something changed. But that was a great performance. That was the most cut out this team's looked like this season. They seem focused. They seem to understand the defense a lot better. As Coach Tang said in his press conference, they really took the game plan and put it onto the floor at a level they hadn't done in a few games. And it came at the right time because that's a really talented, they look the part, Villanova does, and they hit 5 of their first 6 shots, all 3-pointers, and it looked like it was going to be a rout, but they stayed the course and got it done. I thought it was an impressive win.
Talking K-State athletics with Tim Fitzgerald, publisher of GoPowerCat.com. Jerome Tang continues to be one of the most fascinating sports figures we've had in Kansas in a long time.
Yeah.
What is, I think I've asked you this before, and you probably gave a really astute answer, but his ability to connect with his players, with the fan base, with the students. I know winning certainly is a huge part of that, but there's just a personality there that I feel like is not maybe, I don't know how common it is in coaching. What do you think?
Yeah. I've never encountered someone like him, and not just in professionally. I've never met someone who is this filled with goodness and not soft. I mean, he demands goodness. He wants you to be better, and he kind of just has this coaching of everyone around him. I think that video that came out was kind of that, was kind of coaching as he tried to make everyone calm down here and focus on moving forward. And he just does this. It's really incredible. Even when maybe he's setting aside his own emotions and just worrying about everyone else. I saw him doing that in that video, and I think it was really cool.
So if you were a collegiate level athlete to this day, do you think you'd be exhausted? And I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but it just seems exhausting. I got to announce who's in my top 10. I got to announce who's in my top 5. Then I got to announce who I'm committing to. Then I got to announce when I sign. Then I got to announce when I'm in the portal. Then I got to announce who I'm going to, who my finalists are. Avery Johnson had to announce that he's not going into the portal. Like, it just seems like it would be exhausting to have to do all this stuff. Where are you at on that? Have you talked to athletes about stuff like this?
It's only gotten worse, but I know it starts off as really cool. You get to go to this school and that school, and you take all your visits, even though maybe you know where you're going. And but now you get the layer of while you're there, Tony from our NIL collective is going to happen to be at the restaurant, and he's going to tell you what you're going to get. Which that stuff's not supposed to be part of the recruiting process, but it sure as hell is. Now, if you're a player on a team, you get phone calls, your family does, under the guise of whatever that, hey, I heard your son's going into the portal. We'd love to have him, discuss an NIL opportunity at our institution. These collectives now are acting as recruiting agents. Coaches are violent. Coaches are openly recruiting players that are not in the portal and on someone else's roster. And here's my problem. The problem here isn't the portal. It isn't the NIL. It's that the NCAA has not provided any guidance here and isn't even enforcing its own rules. It's just pouting in the corner that it didn't get its way from the court system. And it's devolving in college athletics. It's going to drive coaches off. The college coaches, you say, I wouldn't want to have to worry about the player personnel stuff in the NFL and the big salaries and egos, and now they've got it in college. Jimbo Fisher lost his locker room because they were more worried about the NIL payments and who's getting what and why am I playing more when I'm getting more? It's just insanity that's come to college athletics.
It is, and some of us, I'm not going to say just me, I'm sure you and many, many others saw this as a potential issue, and I think even we understated it. Where does it end? Where is college athletics in a year? Because in my view, this is not sustainable. Just look at all the teams that are headed to bowl games, and you're with one of them there in Manhattan, who have numerous players in the transfer portal. We used to think if a player said they were hurt and they wanted to protect themselves, we used to cry at that. Now it's the transfer portal. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I think number one, they're going to need to move the portal back. They need to move the portal back beyond the bowl games, beyond the playoff. I mean, you look at it from a coaching perspective. You might have movement on your coaching staff you got to fill. You're trying to prepare your team for the bowl game. You have the signing period that you have to deal with. And you have to worry about finding players in the transfer portal. Now you have to protect your players who are on scholarship and have no intention of leaving from being recruited to go into the portal. It's just utter chaos right now, all happening simultaneously. Coaches sometimes are finding out after the fans that kids are in the portal because they're off dealing with maybe interviewing a potential coach or a home visit. And while they were in there for 30 minutes, all hell broke loose. It's just become insane, and they're going to have to figure out how to balance the calendar a little bit better because this doesn't work. I think they need to move early signing period to before the season, period. Have it over with, have it done. If kids really want to sign after making some visits in the summer, let it rip. And then let's just, don't have to protect committed kids all football season, because signing days in December. Guys, I can't even imagine what the coaches are going through. And people talk about the advantages of the NIL or the advantages of different things bigger schools might have. The biggest advantage I see right now is the number of, these analysts and not official assistants that they have that can be handling the portal, could be helping with recruiting, can maybe be promoted up to fill a position. The advantage really is in the support staff when you're at a time of stress and you need support. If you're a wealthy program, you got more of it. And I think that's a big advantage for those programs.
So you got the spring game. The bowl game is almost like winter scrimmage or something like that, just seeing who's going to play for you next year and what next year might look like. So Avery Johnson's a big piece of that. We know he's going to play against North Carolina State. What else might you be looking for from K-State in a bowl game?
Well, I think we're going to see some young receivers. I know Phillip Brooks has already announced he's not playing. Ben Sinnott he hasn't formally announced, but he's not playing. We just saw two young receivers go into the portal because other young receivers have beat them out. So I think you're just going to see some really young positions out there. And again, you're exactly right. It's now like an opportunity to stage a game and see how the guys perform. Can they hold up? And we found out that a lot of these young guys for K-State did hold up. They did a pretty good job. Now you got questions about Kobe Savage, who had no intention of being in the portal. And I don't know as we speak if he officially went in yet, but guys, he's been recruited right off Kansas State's roster to go to another school. And there was no indication he was ever going to the portal. And now it sounds like he will be in the portal shortly. This is insanity. So they'll be rolling a young safety out there to take his place, along with, having to probably use a young cornerback to supplement, Will Lee leaving, which was a mutual agreement. So it's craziness. It's insanity.
We've devolved into this discussion, which is fascinating, but, man, it just makes my head hurt. Tim Fitzgerald with us from GoPowerCat.com. So I saw somebody propose on Twitter the other day to go more toward the professional model, create contracts for athletes, and they have to honor those contracts. Is that something you think college athletics would ever look at?
I'm intrigued by the idea of the NCAA president. I think the $6 million a year entry point is going to a lot of schools will be able to make that, but that's not the problem. Some schools will say, okay, you can enter this division, this new upper division at $6 million a year, but we're going to put $100 million a year. I just think it's going to be an arms race that still won't work for the smaller institutions. I don't know. I mean, that will be basically you're paying players through some kind of trust fund, and but you would think all that have to be in a contract, just like they're signing contracts with NIL collectives and advertisers or entities that they'll represent. And these students they don't have agents. And it's easy to maybe screw them over with the contract. So it's just, I don't even know what we're doing anymore. I don't get it.
All right, let's talk about Avery Johnson before we let you go from right here, of course, in Mays. He's going to be the K-State quarterback next year. You've seen enough of him, or maybe, right, you've seen enough of him to be able to tell our listeners what you expect from Avery Johnson in 2024. What do you think, Fitz?
He'll be a young quarterback that will be spectacular, be bad, be, probably up and down a little bit. But the things I like about Avery is, one, he's not emotional. He's very systematic about how he goes about things. He's incredibly mature and intelligent. But I'll say this, it doesn't matter what we saw on the football field, which was at times spectacular, and what little he was used. What matters is what happened in practice, what happened beyond the public's eye. And it was so definitive, Will Howard left. It was so definitive, the other two young quarterbacks left that were on scholarship. He cleared out the quarterback room because it's undeniable he'll be the guy, that nobody has his upside, and he was already matching Will Howard possibly in his current status. So it was only going to get to the point where it was clearly Avery. Now they've promoted their walk-on Jacob Canuck to scholarship. The only reason he wasn't on scholarship is they didn't have one available when he transferred from Minnesota to K-State. He was on scholarship at Minnesota. And so now he will be, which makes him eligible for the bowl. It's a very confusing situation. So they'll have two quarterbacks for the bowl game. And, they've moved a walk-on now that might be the third quarterback. We don't know. So it's interesting, but Avery's special, man. He just is. And I'm not just talking about as a runner or thrower, as a natural leader and a person that can handle stuff. He's really something else.
And we haven't even talked about the K-State women, who are having an incredible year. We'll get to them next time. K-State men on the road at LSU tomorrow, 12:30 tip-off. And, of course, the K-State football team preparing for the Pop-Tarts Bowl against North Carolina State. That one coming up on the 28th of this month. Fitz, it's always a pleasure. Thanks.
You mean I get to cover a game? I don't have to just do this every day?
Yeah, but don't get too comfortable.
Coaches.
Don't get too comfortable.
Damn it.
Thank you, Fitz.
Okay. Thank you, boys. Great to talk to you.
I'm Snoop Dogg, and I'm giving up smoke. I know what you're thinking. Snoop, smoke is kind of your whole thing. But I'm done with it. I'm done with the coughing and my clothes smelling all funky. I'm going smokeless. Solo stove, fix 5. They took out the smoke. Now you can have a nice blaze without any clouds ruining your day. Go smokeless. Go to solostove.com. Tell them Big Snoop Dogg sent you.
Reimagine this holiday season with more capability and more adventure in Kia's ever-ready lineup. This winter, gift yourself what you really want during Kia's Season of Giving Back sales event. Kia is offering great deals on the capable Sorrento and the spacious Sportage, and deals on even more vehicles like the all-electric EV6 and the fun-to-drive Forte. So visit your local Kia dealer and explore all your newfound possibilities by enjoying Kia's Season of Giving Back. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Event ends 1/2/24.
If you're a business owner, you know these sounds mean sales. And from the sound of it, your business is growing. Whether you're fulfilling orders from your home office or warehouse, Stamps.com helps you stress less about mailing and shipping and spend more time doing what you love most. Listening to ASMR. I mean, growing your business. But as you grow, so does the need for efficiency. Stamps.com simplifies your shipping and mailing process. Import orders from wherever you sell online. Find the lowest rates with the fastest delivery times. Instantly deliver tracking updates to your customers. And buy shipping and mailing supplies when you run low. Save time and money on mailing and shipping. Get started at Stamps.com today with code PROGRAM for a 4-week trial, free postage, and a digital scale.